And yeah, I made a track for my little man. I'm getting ready to release that. I wanted to make like a little snippet. I don't know if y'all seen the when Kanye made that little track for his son, and but yeah, no, I'm not gonna put a video though. I don't think. I'm not sure, but yeah, man, I'm getting ready to release that. I think that's how I'm gonna just start off and release this for my little guy, and then yeah, take it from there. If I had, if the track didn't disappear on me tonight, man, I would have had y'all listen to it exclusively. But so we'll send it tomorrow. So the next time, we'll hear a little snippet, man. Brother being out a little vulnerable, man. Serenading to, but it's all right. It's all good.
How old is your little man?
13 months today.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So it's cool, man. It's cool.
Yes, indeed.
What up, Don?
What's up, fellas?
What's up?
Gene, thanks for the heads up, man. It was in my junk folder, too. I don't know what's going on with that.
Me neither, man.
Look at Donnie real quick. Make sure he wasn't driving.
Not this time.
All right.
I was ready to go, man. I had the lights set up and everything. I was just sitting there tapping my fingers.
I'm like, this is unusual. I'm like, man, I'm only usually on point. I'm like, look at him, refreshing. I'm like,
I was just sitting here staring at myself for a little bit and like, I don't know what's going on, but Don, you're muted.
Oh, there we go.
So we doing the intro or we just gonna jump in?
Whose turn is it this time?
Brandon, you got that?
Brandon awfully quiet, man. I know he got something on his mind, man.
Nah, I just want you to go ahead.
Am I tripping moment or what?
I just want you to go ahead and apologize because you owe me that $100 because you bet me $100. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember that?
Did you show proof?
Yeah, I show proof. I ain't show proof.
Today?
I ain't show proof.
He's like, yo, last time I ain't got time last time, homie. But today I got time.
No, I was just asking. I ain't show proof.
You didn't show proof.
I didn't send you proof.
You showed me a loss.
Hey, Brandon, it went to his junk, Brandon.
Yeah, I know, right? It went to his junk. I showed him a loss for the day. Right?
Yeah, I got enough money where I can pay my house off. But it's stupid because I make more money leaving that in an account getting a higher interest rate than what my mortgage is. Like, there's so many ways. If I really want to sit here and flex, I can
So you're telling me your bank account is making more than 2% right now?
Fuck yeah. Yeah.
Well,
it's not first off, it's not my regular bank account. Like I have money in market accounts. Like you know what I'm saying? And
in your bank account.
What
like
you say?
In a regular financial institution?
Yo, if I showed you listen, hear me out. If I showed you my regular everyday checking account, it's only gonna have like $5,000 in there. Because I'm not making money.
So you're talking about your investments or?
Yes, that's what I'm getting. Like,
your investments. Okay.
Like investment portfolio. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah.
When it comes to like, yeah, I could go ahead and I could use that money and pay off my mortgage and be mortgage free. But when you have anything, let me put it like this: when you have $100,000 or more, you're gonna make so much more money investing that in other places than trying to pay off something so small like a mortgage. I hate to say it. Like I don't want to lead anybody in the wrong direction. I don't want to spit any wrong facts because I'm only one guy. What works for me might not work for everybody, but what I see and what I study up on, it's smarter to try to make better capital gains with larger funds on other venues than to be worrying about a petty 3% mortgage. Like, I could be wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, I mean, the key is have your money like soldiers, man. Have them out making money.
You got to make it work for you. You got to make your money.
Yeah.
If you buy a house at $300,000,
yeah,
your house is 3.75. Let's call it 4%, 3%. Over 30 years, how much money in interest will you have paid?
At the end of the day, you're getting they're getting 3% off of you every single year for 30 years, right? So if your money's in a money market and you're making 7 to 8% on average each year, why would you?
You're not making that. You're not making that.
But how are you going to tell me what I'm making?
Because I'm in banking. I know you're not making 7% on a money market account.
Listen. Look,
go pull your statement right now. Show me right now.
Listen,
I'll give you $100 right now. I'll give you $100. I'll sell you $100 right now on my phone if you show me 7% on your money market account.
Hear me out. Listen. On the account that I got my money in, I've made 15% on average over the last 7 years. 15% a year. And look, when I see you face to face, look, just for all of our viewers, I will show you my balance face to face.
I'm not looking about your balance. I'm not talking about the balance. I'm talking about how much interest you're actually earning.
How would my balance get there if I'm not making 15% every single year? I will show you where it says.
But that's what I'm saying. You don't have to show me the balance. I just want to see the percentage. That's cool.
I'll show you the percentage, baby.
Okay. So
it was like
a loss is not showing me proof. We talked about.
I told you a loss for the day, yo. I make money every single day. A loss is still a gain, yo. Like the market is up and down. Listen, the market
necessarily you gained a lesson, perhaps.
Listen. Was I right or wrong?
You showed me a loss. I'm not sure what you mean.
All right, bro. You know what? When the camera goes off, we'll talk again, man.
No. Why? No,
that's cool. No, because it's just at
that point.
What you said? Huh?
There's no denying it at that point. If it's on camera, it's
no. There's no denying. So look. After we got off the little conversation, I started talking to him about using your money. Even after, hey, did you look up him 500?
No, I haven't looked him up yet.
So you don't do your homework, yo.
Man,
you should look him up the same day I sent it, yo. That shows me that you.
Bro, it was 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yo, so what? We had a conversation till 1 o'clock in the morning. You wasn't worried about me going to sleep, was you?
You called me, man.
You're right, I did. But you wasn't trying to get off the phone. I had to remind you what time it was. we got deep in conversation. I thought he was gonna be the bigger man and be like, you know what, bro, you was right. But now he want to stunt for the camera and act like
I didn't even bring this up.
He wanted to stunt for the camera. Yeah, you brought up. You said if I didn't show you an account that was showing that I could at least make 10 to 15%. I showed you that, hey, I had a bad day, and on a bad day it was like 1%, and I lost how much?
Well, like what? Well, that's your business. You tell people.
No. You tell them because I sent it to you.
All right, you lost what?
Close. This is getting edited out anyway. The exact figure is getting edited out. But go ahead, you can tell the rest of everybody.
Shy of 3,000.
What you? Huh?
Just a little shy of 10 or something like that, right?
Yeah, and what was the percentage of that loss?
Shoot. I mean, I don't know, bro. It wasn't a game. I'm telling you. So I'm not sure what we're talking about here, but.
Yeah, the whole purpose of it was whether it was a 1% loss or if it's a 1% gain. It's the fact of how much money was made in one day. You get what I'm saying? So hang on, time out. So if I lost 1%, the whole purpose of this was the conversation on you using a 3% loan and keeping your money in the bank if it was smart to pay off the loan or if it was smart to invest the money. You know what I'm saying? That was the whole purpose. So I was showing you an account where I invested the money. And in that day, okay, I lost $3,000 in a day, but look, the next day I might make $6,000 or I might make $10,000. Like that was the whole point of the conversation.
Why did you show me that?
I was trying to show you that day. I showed you the date that day. That was the whole purpose. I could have showed you the day before. But when we get off the phone today, I'll show you today's. I'll show you tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow and I'll show you tomorrow. And then I even made you hit. This is what got me was right. I hit him up with some Bitcoins, and I told him straight up, yo, hey, look, they're gonna bang for like 25%. Did they not bang for 25%?
With Bitcoin?
Yes, the Bitcoins I sent you.
The cryptos.
The cryptos. They didn't bang for 25%.
Yeah, they did in that day. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's all I needed to say. They was literally everything I sent him, whether it was LRC or whether it was Looper, they all banked for 25 or plus, right?
Okay.
Come on, don't bullshit me up. All you had to do was say,
yeah. I'm trying to understand what we're trying to get at. I'm not sure what you know.
It's all right. It's all right. You forgot what the conversation was. It was all right. It's all right. Anyway, look.
I see where Brandon's coming from though. It's the cost base. But if you're essentially flipping the money. If you're borrowing money at 3%, but you can make 7%, that delta is at 4%. You're pocketing 4%. In theory.
Yeah, that was the whole point of the whole conversation.
In theory, right? So
I was showing you actuality.
If you come to me and I say, if you come to me and you need, like, let's say a different scenario, you need a loan or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And I say, hey, look, I'm the bank. I say, hey, look, I want to see your profits. And you're like, yo, here's my net loss. And I'm like, oh, that's not your profit. That's not how much profit I asked you to see your profit. You showed me a loss. You said you make 15% throughout the year in a money market account, which wasn't a money market account. It was an investment account, right? It was crypto. So that's not even the same thing. That's one thing you said. It was another thing. And then you show me a loss. I asked you to show me the positive you were talking about. So I was like, I'm not understanding what are we talking about right now?
But that was for one day.
Yes, it was for one day.
So if you zoom out, what's the week? What's the month? What's the?
Yes, that's what I want to see.
Only reason why I only showed him one day was just because I was trying to prove a point. Hey, look, okay, if I can lose $3,000 in a day, you better believe in that same account I'm going to make $3,000 in a day. That was the whole purpose of it. You know what I'm saying?
There's no guarantee that.
It was the whole purpose. Time out. The whole purpose was me saying I make more money to have my money in an account like that than I do for me to pay a house off. That's the whole argument. The whole argument was
show me that.
Listen. I can show you that. I told you I would show you more depth in person. I get it, you're in banking, but literally anybody when they're talking about banking knows damn well, like, yo, when you go to invest, you're gonna make a lot more money than paying off a big lump sum. Like that was the whole point of our conversation. The whole point of our conversation was whether it's smarter to pay your house off or whether it's to use your other monies in other areas. You know what I'm saying? It was also whether it's smarter to start investing at a younger age or start investing at a later age just because you can put away more money later in life, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we talked about that.
So all I was trying to do is prove a point.
Which you
did. The whole time we was on the phone, bro, I was proving my point.
You weren't proving your point. You never showed me proof.
Hold on, time. If you want to say I'm not proving it now, that's perfectly fine. We can sit down once again and we can have the same conversation and I will prove my point. But it's cool that, the little record is blinking now and you want to say I wasn't proving my point. So when we were on the phone, you were saying, hey, man, you really, I see what you're saying. I see
I see what you were saying. You had a lot of valid points. You were definitely talking some good game. You were definitely putting me on with some different stuff. You absolutely were. But not at one point did you show me what it was. If I'm showing someone else how to invest and I show them a loss, that's not, and I'm telling them and I'm giving them education about stuff. What am I really showing them? You didn't show me a profit, and then you're like, okay, when the camera's off, I'll show you a profit. You didn't show me a profit. That's all I'm saying. I understand that you could have made money. I understand that, but you didn't show me that.
It's fine.
If it's one day, if
it was one day,
bank for a loan,
it was 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it was one day.
You didn't show me you didn't show me what I asked you for. You didn't show me the proof. There's no way. Like this is not a conversation that's warranted right now because I don't care if it was 1 second, if it was 1 day, if it was 1 year. Show me the positive that you said you gained 15% throughout the year. That's what we talked about. You know what I'm saying?
It's fine.
Brandon, just show him the graph of the year.
No, I can't. No, that's I'm gonna take a screenshot of it and I'll send it to him. You know what I'm saying?
I'm assuming is this Bitcoin? We in Ethereum? What you saying?
No, it's a personal. It's my own investment. It's my own portfolio. Let me put it like that. You know,
but in crypto or
no? It's a money market. To me, it's a money market account, and that's what I was trying to say. It's not a technical money market. It's my money market account. It's where I have my money in the market. You get what I'm saying? So it's a personal. So it's not one of those labeled where you just let somebody invest in what they want to. It's what I invested personally. So it was like I also was sending him things that I've invested in and I've gotten 25% in a day off of. And I was like, yo, look, invest in this. If you missed it, you missed it. That's not my problem. But I was just like, hey, look, this is what hey, look, I know it's going down today, but Monday it's going to shoot up. Did it not shoot up on Monday?
It shot up.
25%. So if I make 25% in a day, it's 25% in a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, but what I was talking about is it's an average. It's a whole year. Like I'm saying, when I said, hey, I've made 15%, I said over 7 years. I didn't say in one single year it's 15%. I'm saying the average.
You said to the people on record.
I said the average. Bro, listen.
Over 7 years. That's what you said?
Listen. I've made 15% over 7 years. Yes, that's an average. 15%. So listen. 1 year I could have 25. Listen, 1 year I could have 25. 1 year I could have 7. But I guarantee you, over the last 7 years, I've made 15% off of my money.
Bro, and I'm proud of you, man.
That's a fact. I appreciate it, man. But listen, that was the whole point of the conversation. And you was acting like it's an impossible feat when
not at all.
Not. I
didn't say it was impossible. You told me you made 15% on a money market account. And then just like Dwayne was asking you, you're like, it's my money market account, it's my own thing. Like
if you guys
want to miseducate people.
Hold up, time out. I'm not miseducating anybody because if you look back and you watch the video, I never called it a money market account. One time I said money market because you said money market, but I've always said it was my own account and I had money in it.
In G's defense, I do recall it being a money market account.
Hold on, but look, if you go back in the video, I did not say money market. I said, look, if you want to call it a money market account, that's fine. That's how he was labeling it, as a money market account. I was like, at no point in time did I put my money into a true money market account. No, not at all. Because you have no control of your money.
If we're talking to the people, right, and we're telling the people, and we're wanting to inform people and educate them and tell them this and this and that, but yet we're kind of like, this, like the people who tell you what they're doing is they give you those facts, they give you the examples, they tell you here's the vehicle in which it's in, the brokerage, account in which it's in, how the movements are being made, versus like, oh, this is something I do and this is how but you're not being clear. You know what I'm saying? Like,
listen,
you have to be able to clearly explain what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't. I don't. Listen, I set a blueprint. I told you, I said, hey, look, you can put your money in X. I don't have to say what X is. If you want to know what X is, you can pay for X. It's that simple. You know what I'm saying? It's knowledge is money. Like, why would I sit on here and just tell everybody, hey, look, invest in the Bitcoin? That's something you got to pay for, baby. Like, look, I could tell you how to fix your credit. I could tell you how to have an 815 credit score, but at what point does that benefit me? That's the reason why I went off camera and I told you stuff off camera, because it's something that was personal. Hey, look, I want you to know what I know. That's not for everybody else. I'm not here to educate. I'm here to educate, but I'm not here also to give away free secrets in the game and this and this. That's a whole nother channel. That's a whole nother conversation. You know what I'm saying? We can have a finance channel where we say, hey, look, you know what? This is doing great. I think you should invest in this, this, and this. Once again, I'm not an investment firm. Please don't just take this to heart. Like, if you do whatever you want to do, yes, if you want to do whatever you want to do with your money, that's on you. But that's what works for me. You know what I'm saying? And the stuff that I was telling you was stuff that could work for you. At the end of the day, I want everybody to have great credit. Yes, thrift. What is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, responsible. You know what I'm saying?
Responsible.
Like, yeah,
do responsibly.
Nah, I hear you, bro. You definitely put me on some game. I can't lie about it. You definitely would.
But that was free information between me and you. You see what I'm saying? Somebody else. Look, nobody. I don't care what you say. Nobody is going to sit down with you and talk to you like that. Not at 1 o'clock in the morning and just kick shit to you. Am I right or wrong, Gene? I can't even go to a bank and somebody talk to me like that.
You're right. You know? Yeah, no, that's true.
I'm just being honest. Like, nobody's going to tell you, hey, look, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look, if you want to get 100 grand, you got to do this, this, and this. You got to have a credit score between this and this. If you call Amex, they will give you 3 times the limit if you do this, this, and this. I wasn't kicking knowledge like that.
So are you asking me if you were doing that?
It's a question. Yeah, I wasn't kicking knowledge.
Yeah, you were kicking knowledge.
I was giving you valid knowledge, and I even told you, yo, if you don't trust it, yo, you can go to the source. You can call Amex off of the things I was saying. Like, I was only telling you information that I've done before. Like, that's the whole purpose of this group is so we can, if one person has a screw up, the four of us can learn from it. You get what I'm saying? So if one person has bad credit, the rest of us should have great credit and pull that other person up. You see what I'm saying? Like, if one of us bought a house because we didn't have an inspection, the four of us should learn from it. Like, I don't expect any of y'all to hire because y'all know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a learning process. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the purpose of this. Like, nothing more than to learn. Like,
it took a lot of effort to get his name out of that video. Yeah, you just gonna bring it right back up.
I mean, it didn't take that much.
Hey, Brandon, has he hit you up since?
Nah. I think he knew. I think he knew I was serious when I told him not to call me no more.
That's great. You know, it's so funny. Let me tell you guys a quick story. It's so crazy, right? So of course, you know, yeah, I'm in finance and all that. And then, so one day when we talk about like kicking knowledge, so I remember I'd go to my barber. This is many years ago. I'd go to my barber and this dude, you know, he's a barber, but like, you know, he has investment properties and so forth. He's doing these things. And then he pulls out his phone. He goes, yeah, you know, he goes, yeah, I'm investing in some stuff. He goes, I'm investing in Bitcoin. And he literally pulls out the phone and he's showing me his investments. He's showing me, you know, how much he invested. It wasn't a whole lot at that time. It was like a few $100, but he was like, you know, I don't know that much about it, but I'm investing in this, and he's showing me everything. I'm like, all right, cool. So, you know, I take it with a grain of salt. Again, you know, I'm very wary with my money. Like I'd already purchased a house and all that, but you know, money was still I felt like money was tight and all that. I wanted to be cautious. And then so I was real hesitant to do it. So I was like, all right, I don't do it. Then one day, this guy comes into the bank and he goes, yeah, you know, you need to invest in Bitcoin. And then, you know, and I don't know what it was, this dude, I don't know if he just took it. He was like, yeah, I just want to help people, you know, because, you know, people help me and I want to, you know, and this dude, he goes, I helped out my maid and, you know, now she's making money. I got her to invest in it. I'm like, all right. He goes, you got to invest a little bit. I was like, all right, I'm hesitant. This dude comes back into the bank and he's talking, hey, did you invest yet? No, I didn't invest yet. He goes, dude, so maybe you don't understand it. He goes, let me take you out to lunch. I was like, what? You want to take me out to lunch? I was like, all right, cool. I mean, if somebody want to teach me, I'll go out to lunch. I'll learn with him. So he's taking me out to lunch. He's talking to me. He's telling me about all this stuff. And he goes, trust me, this is nothing for me. So I'm thinking, because I don't know anything about this, I'm like, yo, this must be some kind of like pyramid scheme. I'm like, this dude wants me to buy into this. So that way he's telling a bunch of people buy into this. It's kind of like a GameStop thing, right? Like buy in. And then when it rises and then they just pull out and then it dips. You know, that's my mind. That's what I'm thinking. Because like Brandon said, who's gonna just take the time out to like show you this, to talk to you like this, right? So I'm like, there's a catch. Then this dude invites me to a men's group, like a men's fellowship group, and it's at the country club in Hunt Valley. So this is like real exclusive, you know. And I'm there with a bunch of, you know, like very well, you know, off people, and you know, and they're well known and all that. And these dudes, you know, embracing me, and he's showing me this stuff. And I still didn't do it, you know. And he goes, at first he wanted me to invest 500, then he told me 50. I never did it. So to this day, I imagine if I had just listened to this man who was just trying to give me free game, just trying to put me on really with Bitcoin back then, like, you know, like it took me out to lunch, invited me, brought me into it. But sometimes you're right. Sometimes it seems too good to be true when people are genuinely trying to help you and be selfless. But yet we just think, nah, there's no way, you know, and really there is a way, you know, there really is a way. Like, again, when you took that time to you know, spit knowledge and put me on to different things I never knew of, you know, and again, I'm in finance, but I never claim to know everything. But I was like, but yeah, it is, people really can and do that. Sometimes we just really have to take the time and put ourselves aside and listen, especially if they could show us. I mean, this dude was showing me proof. He took me out to lunch. He brought me around his rich friends, and I still wouldn't listen, you know? And then, like you said, if you choose not to do it, that's on you. And I chose not to do it. And who knows what could have been right now with that 500 that I would have invested in Bitcoin like 6 years ago.
Yeah, no,
it's crazy. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, if you think about it, it's like it came off like a lottery ticket, right? I mean, yeah, it seems like an investment, quote unquote, but when it came out, you're talking about another currency. This isn't just like you buying stock in a company that's on the rise or whatever. This is a whole different ball game. So I wouldn't have blamed you for being a little nervous about it too. I don't see that being that big of a deal. I mean, you could still jump into it now if you really wanted to.
Yeah, you can buy fractional shares. Yeah, because that's all I can afford is a fractional share or two, like not gonna lie to you, but you're right, you still can. Can, especially over the weekend. It took like a $10,000 dip. I don't know where it is today, but that was a good time to get a little something in there.
Yeah, I mean, they say that the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is now, right? So that's the thing. Warren Buffett always talks about compound interest being the eighth wonder of the world. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, but didn't, right? They say also knowledge is power, but it's applied knowledge that holds the power. So, I think personally, in terms of cryptocurrency, I think we're still on the very infancy stages of it. But it's kind of crazy how it's snowballing when you get professional athletes taking their contracts or a year or whatever payment in Bitcoin. Yeah. So, if we're one individual doing research, imagine them and their position. Okay, who else is looking out for them? So I think if you can get into it, definitely, look into it, but don't just throw money out there. It's got to be money that you'd be willing to lose. But I mean, it's a volatile situation. But I think in the long run with NFTs, that's another thing. I don't know if y'all heard of that, but now kids getting paid to go to school and get paid off their name, image, and likeness. Like, yeah, this is something we're on the forefront of, I think, in the next 10 years or so. But what you got folks, Mark Cuban, everybody, billionaires talking about it, then I think it's worth looking into personally. Do y'all invest in any crypto?
I mean, I'm literally the last 2-3 days I've been just watching YouTube videos on creating NFTs actually. And just seeing how, I mean, it feels like you're speaking a different language or something, but when you actually sit down and take it step by step to actually look at like getting into it to start, it really still comes down to just building up a community that finds value in that NFT. Because the actual art, I'm looking at artwork primarily, but I did Top Shot and Dapper and stuff like that. So I have some of the sports moments and stuff like that. I actually have some decent ones, some like Russell Westbrook and stuff like that. I got some decent ones, but creating them, you see, it's just like the one I was looking at was just pandas. It was just a digital picture, but it was just a cartoon of a panda. But every one of them that he drew was like 10,000 pandas that he collected. And it's the same template. This one's got a beard. This one's a pirate. This one's, and I'm like, you mean to tell me, my wife sits upstairs and just draws for 5 minutes and has the exact same blueprint to that. And I'll take it and put it into my tablet and ink it, and we can put it on anything. Turning it into an NFT, like, yeah, I think this could be the retirement plan if you if you play your cards right. Like that's what we were talking. Like when it comes to even like raising a kid right now, it's like we like my mom saved the books that we used to write in. Every year she had a book and it'd be like kindergarten through 5th grade and who's your favorite teacher, what's your favorite subject, who's your best friend, what do you want to be when you grow up. And I'm so glad that she kept those because I actually went through it and I'm looking year by year. It's like I wanted to be a NBA player, I wanted to be a WWF superstar, I wanted to be all this different stuff. And I'm like, the kids today, you don't know, your job doesn't exist yet. Like it just hasn't even been created, and you have no idea what your end goal is going to end up being. So it's like chasing your dream of the next generation. Like you may not actually lift a single tool in your lifetime based off of your skill set. You know what I mean? And now it's like being able to actually, I'm trying to keep up as much as possible. I'm not trying to get behind the 8 ball when it comes to crypto, when it comes to the NFT side, metaverse and stuff like that. Because I'm like, yes, my window closed in terms of I'm going to go be a superstar. But now I started looking at it like I'm going to be able to create between myself and my wife, like we're going to be able to create any avenue that this kid wants to do. Like whatever you're passionate about, you can do it. at now. Like you can do it at an early age before you even get your worker's permit. You can create something that's sustainable, and you dictate your future. It's a cool time to be in. I'm just not trying to be against the grain, because I feel like we all get to like a certain age that we're not paying attention to new technology. You just like, oh well, what's that? That's the I know, like that's a new Xbox or something. Like, oh, what's that new iPhone? Like, stick with it. We're
Yeah.
the next generation is gonna come up so much smarter than us when it comes to this stuff, and we're just gonna look at them like those whippersnappers. They don't like to work hard. They know how to work smarter though. It's a new lane. It's a new time.
But that's what the boomers are saying about us.
Mm-hmm.
With the NFTs, I heard that Nike is going to be to help curve, the knockoffs and everything like that. Certain shoes, every shoe is going to have a different NFT, so therefore it's legit. And the blockchain behind it. I'm still doing my research and things like that, because that's all coming.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be having this interview, but it's going to look like we're sitting next to each other in the metaverse. But what a time! What a time!
It's crazy. And then they talk about people, and that's another piece, the metaverse piece, where people actually buy. This it's crazy. Everything is almost like it, to a degree. It almost repeats itself to a degree, right? Like, you ever remember? We all played PlayStation. Remember PlayStation Network? When PlayStation had a platform where, if you were on their network, like you literally could go into like this PlayStation world and you're interacting with other people, and then you had like, the Sims, right? Like if you had, Sims was doing their things and they had the expansion packs and all that. And I was big into that. I mean, I built a computer just to play the Sims. Like
the host who knows the most, baby.
Yeah, man. So people are, are legit doing that. And Brandon, when Brandon and I spoke, and we were, I think at one point, it was over the weekend, we were messaging, and I think we both agreed, like, man, we feel like everyone is like, like getting rich, and like, what are we doing? Because like we're trying to hop on a wave, and we're trying to do this, and because then you'll hear people like, oh, such and such jump like X amount of percentage, and but I think we're still doing the right thing. I think, of course, in our generation, we want that. We talked about it, like that instant gratification. Like we want that one time we do it, boom, and it's a win. As opposed to knowing that like it may not be a win right now. This is something just kind of like what Bitcoin started off, many years ago. Like we got to give this time to get there, and maybe our kids are going to be the ones that profit most off of it. But like we're still winning because we're still trying to catch on, and it might not be that. But again, the NFTs, the crypto and all that, the metaverse where people are investing in virtual land and all that, like everyone's just trying to catch on to the waves and ride it out and see what happens. But there's so many vehicles. As a matter of fact, I feel like we don't even talk about when we talk about Warren Buffett, I'm sure you're going to know this, is we don't talk about like dividend. Like we're trying to catch on those things, but there's still an old school way of doing things that still works significantly well. Like I could I love when I wake up in the morning and I get a notification that says, how much I made in dividends, because Disney paid me dividends for investing in their stocks and stuff like that. Like, of course it's not making me rich but even when I'm taking a loss, I'm still winning because I'm literally making money all the time, from my dividends, and that's an old school way of doing things that people aren't really talking about. We're trying to catch on to this new wave, but we're talking things that are trying to gain traction and become, formidable versus things that have already been in place, like your Apples and your Nikes and your Waste Management and Disney and, and all these bigger companies that they're solid. They're not going anywhere. Right? Like, and they pay you to invest in their company. Not all the ones that I just mentioned, but a lot of them will pay you to invest, and you'll make dividends off off your investment. So that's another thing that, the old school way is still a very good way to invest, is what I'm saying. And it's safe because, again, these companies aren't going under. You've seen the pandemic, look at what Disney just went through. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you watch their stocks and you watch what was going on, Disneyland was shut down, their ships were shut down, You know, they were taking L's, but they weren't going anywhere and then they changed the game. Then they went with Disney Plus. They went virtual. They were, you know what I mean? They were transitioning with the current environment. That's how, you know, well structured they are and well versed and well resourced they are. And
so
we know
Gene, hold up. So Gene, for look, people who don't understand what a dividend is where you buy a stock and then that person you buy the stock from, whether it's Coke or whether it's Disney or whether it's AT&T, you buy their stock at whatever the current market value is. And what they do is they pay you either quarterly, they pay you maybe one time a year, but they give you a dividend. And that dividends could be 4%. It could be whatever. If you have $1,000 in there, they might give you 4% of your 1,000. Now that $1,000 will fluctuate with the stock market, but your dividends won't change. Your dividends will be based off of how many shares you have. So if you have 1,000 shares, they'll give you 4%. Dividends is smart. I'm glad Gene brought that up because a lot of people sleep on dividends. You can't go wrong with dividends. Like he said, Coca-Cola's not going anywhere. It's the major companies that do dividends too. AT&T's not going nowhere. But not Gene, that was a very good bring up.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So, yeah, fellas.
Yeah, it's not a bad portfolio, Gene. If you got, you know, Nike, Apple, Disney.
Yeah, man.
Put some Coke in there too.
And again, you know, I got Tesla. I don't have a whole entire Tesla share. These days, something that was not, you know, available before is buying, again, fractional shares. And you still make money. I'm still making money off fractional shares, right? Like, you know, so it's like an equal opportunity for everyone, you know.
But just, you know, back to Warren Buffett, you know, they say, or he says that to be greedy when folks are fearful, be fearful when folks are greedy, right? So that's what happened with, you know, the pandemic. Everybody was scared, but if you look on the back end, how many millionaires and billionaires are made off the stock market because everybody was scared to invest their money. If you had bought, that was it March 20th, 2020, like, I probably wouldn't even be on this podcast right now if I did what I needed to do. But everybody was scared, you know. So that's something that stuck with me is like, okay, when folks are being fearful, that's when I'm gonna dig in, especially in the stock market. But if everybody's like, oh, the getting is good, all right, let me chill. Because when that dip happens, that's when you want to scoop up. But yeah, my man, shout out to my man Warren Buffett. If I can get one of those Berkshire A shares.
just one of them A's, man. I have you set for life.
Was like 400,000 or something like that a share. Crazy.
And what was Warren Buffett driving for the longest time?
He has his Cadillac that he bought used, and my understanding is he's still in the same house in Oklahoma, a modest house, and goes to McDonald's every single day and pays an exact change for his little breakfast. It's
crazy, right? Crazy. And before that, he was driving a Nissan Altima for the longest time. Right.
Yeah.
Like
you wouldn't know that.
They're built different.
This is my question. So just because he drove a Nissan Altima, you don't think he ever got chauffeured around?
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
sure
just because like that's one thing too is, you know, we hear these stories about people and it's like they tell you what you want to hear. You know what I'm saying? They tell you, you know, rich people are very frugal with their money. If you look at Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, those guys, they wear the same jeans that they were wearing when they were inventing their brand. You know what I'm saying? Which was like the corduroys back in the 80s. They're still wearing that in 2010. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like nothing really changed on their style. They're not out here wearing Versace, Gucci, and these big name Dior's and stuff like that. They're wearing Levi's. They're wearing the cheap threads. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of the things, sometimes I listen and I'm like, oh yeah, you drove a Honda Civic and you're a billionaire? But then you watch their house on Cribs and you're like, bruh, you got a Rolls Royce. You left that out. You know what I'm saying? You left all that out. So it's one of the things, but like we were saying too is, man, you know, a scared buck doesn't make money. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be willing to lose. And that's just like being famous. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. If you're not willing to lose everything, you're never going to make it. You're just always going to be average. You're just going to, like, when we watch TV, Jay-Z, we watch Beyonce, all them, they gave their blood, sweat, and tears. Like they were willing to lose everything, family, money, success, whatever, just because they were that hungry. Like you got to live, breathe, and want success. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't want it for somebody. I got to want it for myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we can push each other, but at the end of the day, if you're not willing to lose sleep over it, or if you're not willing to sacrifice, or if you're not willing to be like, hey, look, you know, I got this opportunity. Am I going to pay my mortgage, or am I going to move forward in this opportunity? I believe in myself. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the difference between the millionaires and people who just dream, you know?
So since we're still on Warren Buffett, first of all, it's Omaha, Nebraska.
I was just about to say it's mutual of Omaha.
Yeah.
Omaha.
So this
What you looking at facts for?
Talking about different ways that these folks are frugal and the way they keep a hold of their money. GoBankingRates.com wrote a list of the ways that Warren Buffett stays frugal. Apparently, he stayed in the same house since 1958. Starts his day with cheap breakfasts, Mickey D's, like you said. Yeah. Apparently, you already read this article, Dwayne. I understand. He buys reduced price cars, Gene. His Nissan Altima, this is true. He only enjoys affordable hobbies, apparently. So he's not buying courtside seats and skybox tickets and all this kind of stuff.
What's the definition of affordable for him?
I mean, number 6, he still has a Nokia flip phone, supposedly, Brandon. I don't know. I mean, that's what this article's reporting.
That's not bad news, though.
It makes sense that people like that have a ton of money, they don't want to see themselves part with it either. And a lot of them have these different reservations about leaving it behind for their kids, even. Like,
Gates.
I don't know. Like Buffett, a lot of them have ideas of where they want to donate it or who they want to help out with, but most of the time they don't even want to leave it behind. I think that's pretty interesting too. I mean, they made it to the top. I guess they want to be that. They want to show that example, but to just like make a bed for their kids and let them just enjoy the rest of their lives, it just doesn't make sense to them. I guess I don't know.
They'll definitely be taken care of. I'll tell you that much. You know, it's up to them to take that launch pad and take it to the next level on their own. I get where they're coming from. Well, I can't say I get where they're coming from, but I could see it to a degree. You know, they earned it, they worked for it, to make sure that future generations are good. But you know, it kind of throws people off, where you're just handed millions upon millions of dollars and don't do anything with it. I was gonna say something else about that. Well, Warren Buffett, I think his first stock that he purchased was at like 11 years old. So if you take that, you know, and Brandon, to your point, putting that money in, earlier you invest, you know, and then I think he reads like 8 hours a day. So if you applying that knowledge, that's where you can really see that growth.
I mean, plus you get to pass that down to the next generation too. You know, with the kids coming up, they don't have to learn things the hard way. They don't have to. I mean, access to information at this point, they got information on their phone that we didn't have access to until damn near college. But one thing, you know, I know this is a change of subject, but we talked about this in the text chain. When it comes to raising kids up and telling them the right from wrong, the one thing that happened this week was this past week, the school shooting. And I was talking to my wife right before we got on here, and I'm just like, what do you even say to kids? Like when they're going to school, they all understand that when there's a shooter in the building, that this is their lockdown procedures. Like the same way we used to do fire drills, they have school shooting drills. And it saved the lives of so many kids, even in this past shooting. And they said like a few of them got shot, but he wasn't able to get into other classrooms and stuff just from their training. I'm like, so now going to school every day, it's just a crapshoot whether something's going to happen. I know that was probably always a thing, but I feel like we've gotten so desensitized. Like, what do you guys plan on? Have you guys had that conversation with the kids? Or I guess with Brandon and Don, you guys got old enough kids to have that conversation?
I have to say, yeah. Like you said, to me, nowadays that is their fire drill, but it's crazy too because like when we were growing up, like it was the outside we were worried about. We weren't worried about other students. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now you got to worry about the dude sitting beside you in math class. Like, is he gonna lose his mind? And he knows the plan. That's what I don't get. Like, we were worried about, you know, somebody coming and taking, like a parent coming and taking a child, like Amber Alert, But now, like you said, like you got to worry about the next student. Is he? And it's the parents too. Like you were saying, the parents are being held accountable for this, and that's a story in itself, man. Like, I know if my child is my responsibility. If she goes to school and she does something, I feel held accountable. You know what I'm saying? Every day you tell your kid, put your best foot forward. Like, because at the end of the day, we got the same last name. So if you go out here acting a fool, you're carrying my name, making me look bad.
It's one of those things where it's like it should have been happening a long time ago. You're not legally an adult until you're 18, right? So if a child goes out and mows a whole bunch of people down with a car and they're not legally supposed to be driving it, then it would fall on whoever is legally responsible for the vehicle, right? So why is it any different for a gun? I mean, these people, it found out that these people didn't even have a gun safe. They weren't keeping the gun anywhere locked up or anything like that. They had it in a drawer that the boy had access to. He was privy to it. So it's like, and then the text and stuff like that. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I thought they bought it for him.
They did.
Yeah.
That's a Christmas gift. They bought it now for him for a Christmas gift. It blows me away. Like I don't know if it'll fly because this is going to set that whole precedent, and I don't know if a lot of people want to do that or not, but it should. I feel like they are legally and morally responsible for what happened with those kids in that school, and it's sad and it's messed up. It's going to destroy a whole bunch of families, including theirs. But at the end of the day, like somebody's got to answer for it, and it's got to be that precedent. It has to be a precedent of it's not the kid's fault. They were raised in a household where it was okay to just walk around with a gun and act like you're gonna play cops and robbers with it. It wasn't a cap gun. It wasn't a water gun. It was a real gun.
Yeah.
The mom texted him talking about, "Oh, I'm not mad at you. Just don't get caught."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. No, they knew that they had to be held accountable too. They got caught in the building, hiding out. So they definitely knew that they were in the wrong, and it's they definitely got to. It's crazy now, especially having a little one and then got one in kindergarten now. Day in, day out, you got to worry about, like you said, who are they next to, what's going on in their minds and things like that. So it's a scary world. But can you live in fear?
We laugh and joke growing up about no pun intended, but snitches get stitches, right? And I constantly have conversations with my kids about tattletelling and just telling for no reason, just to get their sibling in trouble or whatever, right? But there's always this clear line of, are you telling on them because they're about to hurt you or hurt themselves? Or are you just telling just to get them in trouble? Like, I have to have that conversation with them because I like to keep things very black and white with them. It's the same mindset out in public. That whole mantra of if you see something, say something. Like, I don't want them to be the little boy that cried wolf all the time because they're constantly tattletelling. I want it to mean something when they're running up to a teacher or to an adult and being like, "Hey, look, I just saw little Johnny pull out a knife out of his backpack." I want them to take it seriously. And it's crazy, but that's the way it really is.
But like, is it also the education system too? Like, what if we, the kids have to take PE, but what if PE was karate or jiu-jitsu or something that helps build self-esteem and builds these kids up? Because kids are older nowadays just because they have access to information. But I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna be the end of it. I don't think we'll see the end of it. as long as the laws were made the way that they are now. But you hear about like New Zealand banning ARs, like make it make sense. You know what I mean? So,
I mean, that's even movie theaters, and you know, it's rare that I feel like comfortable going at it's weird. Like my mindset automatically goes to where are the exits.
Yeah.
I always do that. Like just, and we love going to the movies and everything, but it's like I'm not going to go on opening night. I'm not going to go when I know it's going to be packed. We'll probably go during like a off time. Maybe we both have off or something. Let's go at like 4 o'clock or something. But it's always keeping your head on the swivel. That you even walking in the mall. Like I worked in the mall and I used to just chill in the food court, and I'll chill, be on my phone, get some food or something like that. Now it's like, if someone came in that door, which way would I go? You know, it's just like there's no place that you can feel. It's concerts. It's, you know, everywhere that you go at this point. So that's why I wanted to see what you guys were even saying, because I know, I'm sure all of us had that conversation with our parents growing up, how to speak with police officers and how to make sure that you just get home safe. Now it's, well, I'm going to send you off to school and send me the 911 text, or, you know, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I think of, you know, Pops and Friday. And he was like, come on, son, put the gun down. But, you know, it's a different era.
You have to fight another fight.
I like that. I like the idea of the jiu-jitsu or some sort of kickboxing or something like that. But I will say, I remember being in middle school when they had wrestling, and I just tuned out each time. So I know, like, having kids, like I and being an MMA fan anyway, like MMA is my number one sport. Like if it was what it was today, I'm sure I would have gotten into it when I was younger. But I just think of the confidence that you would have walking into any situation, minus a gun, obviously. But walking into any situation that you don't have to use it, but you also know it's not a threat there if you need to use it. You know, so I do think that'd be important.
But you know what though? Look, so you know, the era I grew up in, people learned MMA for the wrong reason. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember being in my 20s and then MMA just was coming out fire. And it was like everybody and everybody's mom was trying to train. And then as soon as you got drunk at a bar, somebody was trying to put you in the arm bar. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, man, all I was trying to do was put my drink on the counter because it was empty. And you want to put me in the arm bar because you thought I rubbed you wrong. You know what I'm saying? So you end up having to beat a lot of people's butt up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just, there's no difference between somebody, it all spans back to that, the way you were raised, the way you take, it's just a respect. Like, we really need to sit down with our kids and be parents. Like, that's the biggest issue. The biggest issue is there's too many kids raising kids. You know what I'm saying? So instead of these people waiting until they're in their 20s and they got a better mindset and they're not thinking childish, you got these childish parents who are like, you know, your kid comes home from a little spat because you're 18. You're like, no, we're gonna go beat him up. And you're like, whoa, what you mean we? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're an adult. But you know, these young parents, man, like or they just don't care. You know, like they're so worried about them being in school, they just don't want them at home. So it's like, you know, when this whole pandemic ended, parents wanted their kids back in school so bad. They didn't care if their kids got sick or not. They were just like, I just want them out of my hair. They've been home too long. So it's a parenting issue. So just like it's a parenting issue, that kid going to shoot up at school, the parents should be held accountable just like the kids. You know what I'm saying? All three of them. I mean, because at no point she was texting her son talking about, hey, just don't get caught. But did she text the police? Did she give the police a heads up and was like, hey, look, I think my son might want to shoot this place up? Or she wasn't. She was just being a bad parent. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so with that same line of thinking, I'm trying to think of which shooting it was, but it was a few years ago where the parents and some of the neighbors and other people reported a kid that they knew something was off. They knew he was like a ticking time bomb. And I'm gonna try and find it, but
that's where he just lived with his father.
The report just got kind of like swept under the rug, and this kid ended up killing Yeah.
Now that woman, she don't deserve to go to jail because she was actually scared of her son. Her son was like this little. He was a little. He was out there. he was really out there. But you don't just wake up one day and you're just out there. That comes from years of either neglect, abuse, or like, I mean, you really don't know these kids' backstories. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody thinks they have it bad growing up. Even the people with the silver spoon in their mouth, they think they have it so rough. And you hear somebody's story, but it's a mindset. Like, and it's a mindset. It's a mentality. It's one of them things you got to mature as a person. So us as parents, we're supposed to help these kids out. Like, when your kid's going to school, you should be telling them, hey, you don't got it that bad. Like, have a great day. I mean, you think about how many parents actually go to school meetings. When we were young, man, parents was dapping up parents because it was like everybody knew everybody. Like, now you go to a function and it's like you don't know anybody. It's like, am I supposed to be here? Should I even should I showed up for these kids because nobody else did? Like, it's just weird.
Yo, man, these kids will never know. Like, I'm thinking, like, we're talking about a whole real serious situation, and I'm over here just thinking, like, damn, back in the day, like, Dwayne, you kind of talking about, like, I never thought about, like, somebody shooting me up or me shooting somebody up. Like, it was, like, I've been jumped, I've been in fights, I've lost a fight, went back, fought again, and never one time did I think, I mean, at most, somebody gets stabbed, at best, but you never thought about that. And I'm like, yo, these kids will never get that experience of, like, learning, like, to be physical, building that strength, and like you said, and the dudes that were studying, martial arts, like I remember being in high school, and these dudes would have their own cliques and, a couple golden gloves and all that, but they learned discipline. Like, they didn't, even when there was a confrontation, they would still talk it out first because they knew that their hands were basically weapons, and they knew that, like, they don't want to have to, engage unless, like, really provoked. And these dudes were really chill, because they learned that discipline from their training, right? And but again, yeah, these kids these days, man, they're just so quick to, and everybody got guns, it's crazy. I was like, just not too long ago, I purchased a couple ARs, and after that, I was like, I don't need to have these things. Like, it's just crazy. I'm like, for what? Like, I'm not going to war. So I go and I take them things back. Like, but everybody got guns, like, and it's so accessible. And that's everybody's go-to. Everybody's like, you know what? I'm just going to shoot off. I'm going to pop off, like, and these kids will never know that time of, like, when you really, like you say, you just put your knuckles up and you duke it out. And there were people I duked it out with, and then I see them again, we dap it out, like, all right, cool. Like, it's settled. Like, we did that, win or lose. But it's just a different time. And parents, it was another situation where a parent, literally took his kid. It was recent news. He literally took his kid to go kill another kid. Like that's crazy. That's insane, right? And y'all can look it up, of course, it's facts. But yeah, man, it's just a very, very, very different time. But I do agree with that. It's still worth it to teach, these kids to, that going into and getting some kind of self-defense training and martial arts, which teaches discipline, which teaches them how to think in certain situations, not only if they're not, equipped with a weapon, but, how to think in that situation of, like, all right, cool, I need to exit, or, fight or flight. Like, it's a real thing. We all should still have a little bit of that fear that, enables us to think and say, all right, I either want to engage in the situation or I don't. But the parents really do still have a lot to do with that as well. So it's crazy.
But what about sports? I mean, we got a few past athletes, former athletes in the group. What do you guys think about sports still being able to hold on kids and give them another father figure or another mother figure, for that matter, and all that? Like, do you guys think that sports is the same thing?
Yeah, definitely with sports, but you got to level the playing field. You're talking about kids that are in, elementary school, middle school, and things like that. I think it's got to be an outlet, and I think kids nowadays, the babysitters are tablets and phones and things like that. Like, you go out to dinner, or you go out, you see the parents are just giving them the phones just to, play on a game while they eat. They're not interacting, and I think that's what we're missing. We have a a no phone rule at the table here at the house. And Steve Jobs, like they invented the tablet, but his kids apparently weren't on the tablet at all because that would limit their imagination. So it's definitely, starts with the parents, but I think the education piece is what's crucial moving forward. Because, I think about it. I'm sitting here talking about tablets and things like that. Amaya, she's in kindergarten. My mom was blown the first day she came home. She had a Chromebook. I'm like, huh? So it's just, and then I know some kids that they don't even get homework. They, everything is done on the tablet, stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, different time.
Yeah, Brandon, you mentioned that last time. Like these kids aren't getting homework, things like that. Yeah.
Oh, that's like how far detached do you have to be from your kids to not? Like, that's the reason that they're guilty. The parents have to be guilty because it's like, how far detached do you have to be to not see any signs whatsoever? Like, no kid is that great of an actor to be able to just go through every single day. Meanwhile, he's writing up notes and letters on bloodshed and how he's going to kill people and stuff like that. It's like, but I remember growing up at my grandparents' place, they always used to get like the Jet Beauty magazines, and it was second grade, I think. I went through and cut up all, like, every copy, every Beauty of the Week. And I wrote up, like, I made them like Valentine's cards for like my boys type of thing. Like, ever giving out these Valentine's cards, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give it to like my boys. Like, Curtis go get one. When I tell you, when it comes to parents being connected to you, when I got to school and opened up my book bag and they weren't in there,
I don't remember that.
I was like, I had already hyped it up all week. I'd spent days cutting up all these Jet Beauty magazines, and I'm sitting on the stairs in my grandparents' place, hiding them every time I see them. And I'm sure they knew what I was doing, but as a kid, I thought I was just incognito. And I get to school, I open my book bag, and they weren't in there. And everybody was looking at me like, yo, I thought you had I thought I did. And my parents never brought it up. Never said one thing about it, but I knew that they had gone in my book bag that day to put some like lunch money in there or something like that and took those out. Like that. But if you look at the opposite situation, if that was a gun in my book bag, wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Like that, they were that in tune, knowing that. And I imagine if I would have actually taken them to school, probably got suspended, probably like they knew they were still guiding along the way, so it's like, as a parent, to be that disconnected, to not know that your kid is in that dark of a place, that's a lot has happened leading up to that. It's a lot to unpack, but it was almost like you saw the picture of the parents. I was like, yeah, they're guilty. Yeah. those two are guilty.
But can parents nowadays be that connected to a child with smart devices in between tablets, computers, and everything like that? Is it possible?
Is with parental controls, I can tell you right now, when most the lock is probably 0000 or something, the kids can get through it. And even when it comes down to it, it's like they could easily search elsewhere. Like, you can get past the parental controls and stuff like that. So even that, or they go online, they want to talk to their friends on Xbox or on PlayStation or something like that. Like, I don't know how connected you truly could be in that regard, but do you spend any time talking or anything?
And that's what I'm saying. You're talking about parental controls, but that means they have the device in the hand and things like that. So you got to intervene. Like, would that conversation be different if, your grandparents or your parents had a cell phone back then? Is that connection still there? I mean, if you look at it, I know, Brandon, you get one. I don't know who else has an iPhone on here, but I think it's on Sundays, you get that screen time. Oh, your activity was down. And you look at, down 20%. Yeah, it's down 20% to 5 hours and 47 minutes. Like, so imagine how much time it's being consumed with this technology that our kids is yearning for, So, yeah, like I said, what a time, man. What a time.
We grew up.
Everybody loves the convenience of it.
Oh, yeah. We grew up in a time where I guess we were that last generation of people that we went outside We were outside until it started getting dark, or mom was like, y'all better come in for dinner, or whatever the case. Like, that's what it was. You wanted to be outside. You wanted to be hanging out with friends and stuff like that. You wanted to be riding bikes. You wanted to see how far across town you could get before you got caught. Like, that kind of thinking just went out the window. Like, my son, I love him to death. He ain't interested in riding a bike. That's the last thing on his mind. He's like, I want video games. I want FaceTime. I want to do whatever else that is technology driven. And it's hard to get them off of it. But the only thing with technology is that it's great leverage. Like you said, you don't get the tablet if you come to dinner with it, or you don't, if you don't put the video games and stuff up and start doing your bedtime routine, and tomorrow it gets reduced by this amount. Like, that's what it's become. You don't need to spank and all that kind of stuff, which is great. But at the end of the day, it's like it's got this mind control over them. And it's hard to think it's just them, because how many of us have our phone on us 24/7? It's our alarm clock. We Google stuff all the time. It's got our schedules in it. It's got all of our work contacts in it. Like,
but even if you, as a parent, you stop it all at your house, they go to a friend's house for 20 minutes. They were on it the whole time over there. So it's one of those things. It's a nonstop. Like, it doesn't matter how much we take it away. They're going to get it somewhere else. So it's you become that parent where you're like, well, I'd rather them do it in front. You know what I'm saying?
But my thing, the other side of that is, all right, so we were outside. They can't be connected with you at all at that point. So if we're talking about like them looking, what's the difference between them being immersed in a video game completely on their phone, or being up at West Middle playing basketball, or over at Dutters Park playing basketball, or something like that? You're still not connected to your kids. So it's still going to be only a couple hours of the day that you're actually there together. And I don't know, like, we were really good at Madden. That didn't come from us only playing a couple games. That we were playing full seasons at back-to-back and Gran Turismo 50-lap races and stuff. So we were still, it wasn't a cell phone, but we were in front of a TV. And it ain't like mom and dad were sitting there next to us like, how was your day right now? Like, it was still the few times that you came, and we didn't even sit down for dinners like that. Like, come to think of it, I don't even know, like, how many hours a day did we actually spend together? And it still didn't feel like you were disconnected. Dad worked night shift, so we really weren't connected at all. You know what I mean? So it's even the generations have changed, but you go back a generation before that, they didn't have cell phones or anything. They literally went to work, and I'll see you when you get back. Like, you could be anywhere in the world and you don't know where they actually are. But they still across generations, we've only had 2 hours a day max that you actually spend together with your family. So I don't think it's still a time that parents can be connected with their kids. Like, it doesn't mean that they're completely in a different universe or something just because they're on their phone. It's just that depression or whatever that kid was feeling. I highly doubt that was the only warning sign. Like, there had to be other moments that you had some sort of conversation with this kid. Like, to go that far off the deep end, you're drawing bullets and this kid's gonna bleed and stuff like that. It's like, bro, you knew. There's plenty of times that you knew.
But just like what you're saying, though, just this whole generation isn't built like that. Like, be honest. Look, when you was playing Madden, did you want somebody else to play? Did you want to watch somebody else play? Like, these kids will literally sit down for 4 hours and watch somebody else play a game. That wasn't cool with me, bro. Like, I didn't want to give up the remote. Like, I was like, nah,
I ain't getting these sticks.
Right. But these kids, nah, I'll watch. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like, suicide rate for children is through the roof. Like, when we were growing up, we didn't have no friends killing themselves. You know what I'm saying? I have to pray every day that one of my kids don't have one of their best friends kill themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, I just don't want it to hit close to home. Like, I know my kid's not going to, because that's what you instill in your kids. And you check on your kids, but not everybody's doing that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, not only do you got to worry about somebody coming to school shooting up, you got to worry about if all 26 of them kids is going to still be in the same grade every single year. You know what I'm saying? Without one of them taking themselves out. Like, I know it sounds bad, but that's the day we live in. These kids get bullied on the internet. That doesn't even sound right to me. Like, how you get bullied on the internet? Turn the fucking screen off. Unplug. That solves that problem.
We say that, but I also can't imagine being in school and you have no time that you can just get away. Even if you block, like if I was in like ninth grade and I finally get done the school day and it's the same dude and he says something or shows a picture online or something like that, and that goes to everybody else in the school, and now you got to think about it the entire night and you're going into school. Like, you have access to, just like you have access to celebrities these days, you got access to everybody at all times. So I know it's got to be different. I can't say it's easier, like, yeah, it's not bullying or whatever.
Missing one. You get to keep that idea at least. That one didn't get recorded.
Oh, now you want to edit shit out.
And you want to hit with the intro?
Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. This is Stxhes. It's Philip, Duano, Brandon, Gene, and myself. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate any comments or likes.
So we're talking about the social media aspect of today's times. I mean, I just look at it from, I can't really relate to the extension of bullying when you go home and all, but it's like I play with it, like going back and forth in my mind, and I like, all right, well, don't have a social media, but that doesn't stop the rest of your classmates from having social media. So there could be a lot of things that's happening online that you're walking into the next day. So it's still a way for everybody to stay connected in a way that they couldn't in the past. So I can see it, which would contribute to the suicide rate being so high with young people. It's unfortunate, but you got to think, even as adults, like, think of how many, I don't know if you guys are anything like me, but there's a lot of posts that I don't want to put up. Like, I hate posting pictures of myself. You see me posting pictures of me with the AKA stuff, it's a necessity. It's not because I want to look at myself, so, but I know the insecurity and self-doubt and everything that plays into social media. So if we're thinking that as adults, what are they thinking when that's their everyday life? That's their regular life. Like, most of your younger cousins, nieces, nephews, they're going to have more followers than you, guaranteed. They're going to have a couple thousand followers. And that's just, everybody that I know got a couple thousand followers. On my TikTok, I got 10,000 followers. That's just what they're used to. So, the online bullying and stuff, it is definitely a problem in today's times. Because, Don, you were talking in the group text, you're talking about social media being in the news right now. Regulations.
It's a big deal, man. Like, Gene already talked about The Sims, right? Like, a lot of us grew up with that type of mentality, like the whole idea of a simulator, the thing of taking what and putting yourself in another body, in another world, another reality, and all that kind of stuff. It's like the manifestation of that. You've got a program that's sitting in front of you that you can manipulate, like Philip said, and put pictures up of whatever you want. And then you get like this status bar of how many likes and how many followers you have and all this kind of stuff. And you just measure it against everybody else's. It's really that basic. I mean, you're really comparing yourself to anybody that you've never met in your entire life, and you're wondering how big your platform is. Like, that's got to be a horrible feeling. Thank God I didn't grow up that way. It was like, you had friends and you played with them and you knew they lived down the street. You didn't have like these like very black and white metrics to like compare yourselves with. It's just weird. But that's the day and age that they've grown up in. I mean, most of these kids have been born with tablets and cell phones and stuff already in their hands. Like, that's the norm. I don't know.
We talk about that, and we talk about these comments. Y'all ever check out when these celebrities is reading about these like random people who are saying like the most foul but yet comical stuff about them? Like, y'all obviously, and it's like, people are on like another level, man. Like, stuff that they really will say, and these are like not bad looking people or people who have money, and they still go through this. Like, it's crazy how you could, compare Steph Curry to like a leprechaun or something, And I'm like, it was insane. Like, people will find any reason to like poke fun at people, you know. But I think in this day and age, man, I think one of these things that it's gonna be, it's not, I'm not ever gonna say it's easy, but I'm like, we gotta teach, because back in the day, I think you had to have like real tough skin, or you had to be able to give it back. You know, like somebody dissing you, you gotta be able to be like, yo, get right back at them. You know, well, your mom's, you know, kind of thing, or well, you look like, you know what I mean? Like, but unfortunately, that's not where we are. But like, you know, it's you know, because this day and age, you say the wrong thing, you hurt their feelings a little too hard, and they're like, oh, okay, you know, and they come back with pop's gun. Right. You know what I'm saying? You know, so, but it's just, it's a crazy, 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 crazy time, man. And I have no idea, man. Like, I look at my little guy, I have no idea what's gonna happen, what, you know. And of course, if any parent, you know, we hope that, and I know a couple of us are probably like this, we pray to God that he don't put us in, that God don't put us in situations where, you know, because even we as parents, it's a different day and age where, you know, it's like, oh, okay, you know, because we look at the news and we see some stuff, but until we're in that situation, man, it's kind of like, all we could do is just comment on it, because God forbid we're in those same situations, how are we gonna react? You know, when these kids are at a certain age and they're going through that stuff, and what are we really gonna tell them? You know, how to counter it and what to say back, because we know we got to be cautious of how we tell them to react, like, you know, and because there could be, you know, a lot of consequences, you know. So it's I don't know, man. I know we don't have the answers. You know, it's not something we have the answers for, but we just have to hope and pray that, like, you know, I don't want anybody to go through it, but like, at the very least, that, you know, some folks are the exception, because it's just crazy, man. And I do think, backtracking a little bit, I do think guns are a little too accessible. Back in the day when we were little, like, you know, guns were not as accessible. I mean, tomorrow morning, if I want whatever I want, for the most part, I could just go get it, you know, in the state that I live in. It's easy, nothing. All I gotta show you is my license and maybe registration, you know. I don't have to keep it on me at all times. I can get it when I need it. It's insane, you know. That's another thing too, man. Gun control. I think gun control needs to, you know, because guns end up in the wrong hands. And, you know, recently I was actually reading some about, it might be off topic, but about like Glocks. Like, now they literally make these switches that you could easily get, and they're not expensive, and they're very accessible, where you could switch your, it used to be like, I think it was like the Glock 17, you know, it was one of those most sought after Glocks, because if I'm mistaken, or, you know, anybody please correct me, but I think it was the 17 where it was a fully automatic Glock, right? But now they got switches, you could turn your Glock into an automatic weapon, and you could put these extendos on it, and like, you really, you know, so it's compact and it's fully automatic, and cops don't even carry fully automatic Glocks. Like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
But I will tell you this, look, you know, if you search how to build one of them Glocks, you're gonna have ATF at your house, because it's that illegal. Like, if you look on the blueprint, yes, you're gonna show up on the list. So, bro, I did not put that in my search history. Like, anybody watching this, put that in. ATF will come to your house. Yeah. Like, they don't care if you're making a gun in your backyard or anything, but as soon as you put that fully auto switch on there, they will be watching. It's that real, like, because like Gene said, like, cops you can't outdo when you got 100-round clip and I pressed it one time and it's empty. You know, you can't compete with that. Like,
crazy. And not to mention the phantom guns, like the ghost guns, you know. You don't even have to buy the joint fully made. I just buy a bunch of different parts, put it together, 3D printing. You make a 3D printed gun, and it'll still fire off. How it still shoot if it's plastic? That's crazy. I mean, like, you know, it's just a lot, fellas, man. You know, as
Louisiana.
You know, but yeah, fellas. So, but I think, again, with the general consensus, again, right, using that term, is really us as parents. We just have to really try to tune in. And there were a lot of times when we were younger, and we all had our parents, because our parents would work 2 jobs. My mom would go to work from 6 to 6. My mom would go from 6 a.m. to 6 a.m. My dad worked 2 jobs. I would see him in between time. And it's crazy. And I didn't have that time to spend with him. It's a miracle that I'm all right in some cases, right? But there are those kids that really don't get to, really connect with their parents like that. And like you said, the technology, they're just giving them kids the technology to get out of their hair, and they're learning all kinds of stuff on YouTube and things like that. And then they're hanging out with other friends, and we don't know about their friends and who they are. We had never met their parents. We've never been to their homes. I think, again, a lot of it starts, and there's a lot of trauma because the parents had trauma, and then there's no generational curse because then the parents are putting that onto them, right? And then it's just, it's spilling over, So a lot of it really, really starts with us, and I think it's detrimental that we really try to connect with these kids, So, big. But before this whole thing, I'm sorry, I'm not going to try to take over, but listen, man, Phil, you were on it, man. You were putting these shit earlier. You showed us the Dare Responsibly. Was that what that was? And I know you made a few others, man. Like, what's the catalog looking like over there, man? What are we talking about?
I went a little crazy that night. I'm not gonna lie to you. I still got multiple designs that I didn't even put onto shirts yet or anything. But from concept to at least sample, you know what I mean? Like, these are all vinyl press. So here's Dueno came up with the Dare shirt, the Drip Responsibly. Got the patch or the badge. If that's even gonna come in. Is it gonna come in?
We getting in.
Drip Responsibly. This is my I have a couple designs on the AKA page that's that's based off of, like, I always think of like minor league baseball teams. They always got like the most random, like you know what I mean? It's like the Eastern Shore Blue Crabs or something like that. So I always like those. So I started coming up with like teams and stuff like that. So that was one of the mascots in the Drip Responsibly print. And for Brandon, bread for this. Jackie said, lifestyle.
Oh, lifestyle, yeah.
Jackie said, every one of them, I put them on and start walking around the house because I just kept going up and looking at me. Jackie,
hey, man, like, where can we purchase these samples?
Hey, yeah. I'm not going to put them online without getting the clearance from the creators. You know what I mean? I want to put these up, but from here, this is just like the sample that's printed out. All of these, I have them as digital designs. So what I would do is create a storefront, either like Big Cartel, or the one I did for Brandon was on Teespring. So essentially it's just putting the designs up. You're just uploading the designs. You choose the whatever fabric and everything you want. I've gone through a lot of different samples. So when it comes to t-shirts, I know the make and the feel of a bunch of them. So you get to choose whatever it's going to be printed on. Hoodies, sweatshirts, masks, whatever you want it to put on. So these designs can be a full collection, a full storefront, just using these. And it's not like you guys actually have to sit there with the heat press like I'm doing.
I was gonna say, you have
yeah. I mean, I got the heat press. I can actually just make them up, but when it comes down to it, I started thinking on like, all right, so I want to be successful selling these t-shirts. So what's success look like? The same way we're talking about the music and everything. I can't afford to be down here making up. If I get 150 orders tomorrow, all right, well, there goes my entire home life. And each shirt's going to take X number of minutes to create and everything. So I wanted to make something that any person in the world can buy it. It gets directly made. It gets shipped to them. So I order a bunch of samples. Actually, tomorrow, the next time that we film, I'll have 5 new hoodies that I ordered in. So you can get them embroidered. You can get all over prints. I like to order it in first before I actually offer it to anybody. That's why I got this one on right now. But I wanted to see the new colorways. I got burgundy, navy blue came in. So as soon as I see that the quality is there, then I can put it up. And if somebody buys it, I got a couple orders since doing these shows. My orders have been going up. But people seeing the picture I post on Instagram and everything, got like the sweatpants and all. But as soon as the order comes in, it's dope because I would wake up and it's just your account. It just pops up. It's like you got 2 orders for sweatpants. Got a friend of mine here locally. She bought a crop top sweatshirt. She should be getting it. Actually, if I check my tracking, she may have gotten it today. So, it'll be some new people rocking the gear. It's a good feeling. But that's the same thing for you guys. That you guys came up with a concept. From concept, I can immediately put into the design program and come up with whatever. Try it out. I can wear these around town and everything. But if I want to actually make it in bulk, then just create a storefront. You can open it up, come up with a logo, whole 9 yards, and keep building it from there.
Yes, sir.
Dope. Brandon, there's still time, man. You talked about this last time, man. You know what I mean? But there's still, there's still time. The drip responsibly, man. That's it's already, it's already a TM right there. But you can still do your thing, man. Because I did my research, man. You still got the clearance, but not to put that out there. Somebody be like, oh, you know what I mean? But you might want to jump on that because that joint's tough. I'm not gonna lie, man. That was nice, and anybody got it. So but even for myself, man, I'm thinking about starting up the Jean Laurent brand. I know we all call me Jean, but Jean Laurent is the brand. But and I'll definitely be trying to connect with with AKA Motivate, for some kind of venture. But yeah, man. So I think it's dope, man. Really to have that piece of it, man, where you really can kind of rock something that you come up with, So I think that's really, really something cool, to be able to do that. So it's impressive, man. And yeah, definitely shout out to you, AKA Major, for doing all that, man. That's dope. That's really, really tough.
Of course, man. What's up?
So wait a minute, who? I heard TM at the end of that one
trademark.
Who got the drip responsible?
Drip responsibly? It's out there, man. It's I looked at it before because I remember the day after. It's all about doing homework. And
we're gonna have to edit this part out.
Guys distribution.
Yeah, the domain is up for sale. I think it's like $60,000 or something like that.
Oh my god!
The
talk about investing.
Like if you do that .com, but if you do like .org or .net, like that's available. But I mean it's but the name is trademarked, by Liquid Guys Distribution. But again, BFT, you talking about, you doing 15%. Throw your money on there. Throw your money on there.
No, you're right. The BFT is still available, man. You're right about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not with it, man.
If we can figure out a way to break down drip responsibly, we can still run with that. You know what I'm saying? It just can't be the drip. Like
we don't need to. We don't need to. I mean, tamper with it. You don't even need to tamper with it.
Yeah, no, you're right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got it. Like that's solid. That really is solid. And if it's, and again, sometimes when we sleeping, we just talking about somebody else catching waves, like looking at what we talking about. Don't be mad when we just kind of later on we're like, oh, somebody was listening and watching, and they're like, oh, really? And then they do it, because it's not that expensive to go ahead and do that. And then that means anybody who got it, whether it be domain, whether it be rocking it, whether it be IG, like, I'm not saying that we want to do that, but like you literally, like, you got to have my permission to do it once it's, once it's TM. So yeah.
You know what? Hey, Phil, hey, look, one day I want to just come over and I want to film you make one shirt. Like, I don't care if it takes you 15 minutes. I don't care if it takes you 2 hours. I just want to go through the process. Then me and Donnie are going to cut it up. And then I want Dwayno and Gene to collab on the music, on the inlets, on the outlets. Okay? So it's gonna be a whole process. Like, and I think that would be pretty dope. Like, you know what I'm saying? And we can play the video back. We can all give our little opinion on it, like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that would be something that's dope. Whether it's something for the AKA brand or whether it's a drip responsibly shirt. Because like literally when you want it on that drip and that dare print, like literally you had like that, bro. I wasn't even on work yet. You was done. I was like, I would have just loved to have been a fly on the wall and see it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Wayno was like, yo, you think you could do this print? Sent the text.
Right.
And literally, I get a picture back like 3 hours later, and it's a
No, I'm not gonna lie. The first sample was when I opened the text. I was like, "There's no way he already did these." Like, I literally opened up Google. I was like,
for real.
"Is there these Google images?" I'm like, nah, I ain't got them.
No, he was.
And the only thing is, man, they were tougher than what I Googled. Like when I was looking at what's really out there for drip responsibly, like they weren't even, that was really dope, because the ones that if you Google it, you look after this call, like they're not, there was a couple that was like, all right, cool, like, but those were really nice, man. I was like, yo, dang, none of that is available out there, So sometimes people will really do that. They'll trademark something and then sit on it and not really, have the creative for it, So.
Hey, Gene, was Just Drip? Is that available?
Oh, I didn't look that up. Just Drip.
Okay. Just Drip. You know what I'm saying? Just Drip.
Yeah, Just Drip. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't look that up, but yeah, I can.
We can just say responsibly out loud.
It's implied.
That is true. Yo, that is true.
Those are the different avenues you can take. It could be responsibly, irrationally,
Right.
emotionally, physically, spiritually.
Yeah, respectfully. Yeah, that's right, man. Sky's the limit.
That's what, like, I didn't, for me, like, those designs would have been done. It would have been done earlier if I wasn't working in like Ellicott City that day. Like as soon as you said the dare concept, I was like, well, I know it's not like we're gonna be able to copyright this knockoff shirt, but it's still a good promo type shirt. But as soon as you said something, I mean, I got the Canva app on my phone even. So if I'm sitting in between estimates or something like that, or just chilling, getting something to eat, I can jump on there immediately. But I already had in mind, just from so many hours that I've put in, which font I was going to use, and we can't.
You can't see, but yeah, just Drip is trademark. Yeah.
Okay.
Just about everything Drip's probably going to be trademark. And that was
just in August too. That was just, and the filing date was actually July 7th of 2020. So yeah, man, but.
Yeah, I like you got that. You must have that like a tab on your phone or something. I like that.
Man, yeah, bro, I just,
you want it,
man. I like trying to look up stuff, man. Just try to get on it. Yeah. But I mean to cut you off, Phil, man. I mean, what were you saying?
No, it's just you come up with an idea. At this point, I've spent a lot of time from I basically started doing AKA when I got sober. Like it was something that gave me something I could come home and do every single day, and I was just doing it on like my old like college laptop. Running back and forth, because at the time I was living over at TJ's place. When me and Jackie split up, I'm sitting over there trying to figure things out. And I just started doing it on my laptop, but I didn't have the money to actually invest. And I can't go and say this design, I'm gonna go buy 500 shirts. Like I didn't have the upfront money to do that, and it's a risky thing anyway. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna put that money in, you better sell those things. You're sitting on a lot of dead stock. So just from research, figured out the print on demand stuff. Tried to figure out the best way to get like a Photoshop program, figured that out, got Canva, figured out how to do the different, like the baseball tees and stuff like that, just research. But now it's like, after all these hours that I've put in, when somebody comes up with an idea, I told you about Blake's ideas, the changing the rebrand, that was, let me sit down for 2 hours and sit down and focus on it. I'm normally at the house just winging it. I probably have a few hundred designs that no one's even seen yet. I just haven't had a reason to put this out. Like my Mortal Kombat looking shirts that I got for the gamers and everything. Like those, none of my gaming stuff is even out. And I've probably got like 10 or 15 of those. So when you actually have a solid idea I can run with, that's just organically coming up with something. When I focus in on something, yeah, we can knock it out. That's why I wanted you guys to see the time it takes from idea to fruition, because if you do have something, no, I'm not just talking about it. Like let's put action behind it and let's figure it out. Like it's a realistic thing we can do. And I like the ideas. I wouldn't do it if I didn't like your ideas. Like I thought both of them were catching Drip responsibly. I figured in the back of my mind somebody else has thought of that. We couldn't have been 2 for 2 on there's no way. But
gotta bring on that concept.
Yeah. And Phil, that you're talking about it with the images and the ideas that you have that you haven't released. we were talking about NFTs, you know, like right before they're sold out, you could sell that image.
Mm-hmm.
And in theory, continue to make money because it's my understanding with NFTs is blockchain. So if you sell it and then I sold it to me, then I sell it, you're still making money after I sell it just because of the blockchain. But
I didn't even think of that. That actually is, because then you're selling them the NFT. They've got the ability to go and here you go. You know,
and then you're still making it. So even if your design doesn't sell per se for t-shirt, the image itself, somebody else might have another idea for it.
And I didn't know that when you're doing your NFTs on the back end, when you're creating it, you can put your royalty fee on there. And they said like anywhere from 10 to 30% on the royalties. Yeah. I'm like, so these artists that are doing
transaction.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so these guys that are putting out their original pictures and each one are selling for $6,000, but they're reselling for 50, you know, I'm like, that's a heck of a business model. And it's not too many people in this right now. That's the big fish that you're really out of the loop. You're not jumping in against Nike when it comes to this stuff. So I've been researching and it's going into motion. I can tell you that.
That's smart too, like you said, because right now you only going to get the small fish, so you want to get in now. As soon as the big fish get in there, it's gonna be hard, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why. Actually, Gene, you said you've been recording and everything. What's the name of the song you're gonna put out? What did you actually say the name in this podcast?
What
the first one the first song that you want to put out?
It's called "Letter to My Firstborn." Yeah, it's "Letter to My Firstborn." You know, like you guys have been saying this. You know, I've always been afraid of. You know, I'm my worst critic, and I'm nervous about fame. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm not gonna sit here and act like that doesn't have the ability to change me in some degree or not. And you know, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. You guys have heard snippets of my songs, and each and every one of you that have heard it has always been extremely supportive, you know, and I've always been super grateful for that. It is a part of me that gets nervous. So this next year, you know, I'm really going to do it. I'm really going to step out of my comfort zone and put myself out there, whether it be through, promoting my stuff, trying to get in festivals, trying to put this music out on different platforms such as Spotify, Apple, all that, and then really generating content. But I don't know. But I wanted to just start off with paying homage to my little guy, and of course a lot of people on my social media. I got people closest to me that have no idea. Like if somebody's watching this, it's the only time they're gonna be like, oh dang, like Gene got a kid, like, because I just don't do it. I don't post like that. I like the way I live in my privacy and all that. So, but yeah, man, it's called Letter to My Firstborn. And of course I call it Firstborn because I don't know what the future holds. But yeah, man, and it's it was deep for me to do that, and I wanted to come out that way. Really put myself out there. So that's coming soon. The song is done, and I'm a huge fan of it. And I'm just trying to debate if I want to put a video of with it, or if I just want to, put a picture and, like a single cover, whatever, and then just release it. So that's coming soon. Stxhes will be the first to hear that. Actually I needed him to resend it through a WAV file rather than the MP3, and he sent it today, and I it was a few people, like close circle, has heard it already. So but yeah, fellas, I'm really going to be doing that. Stxhes will be a great way to help promote that. I need a DJ as well, so I feel like Dueno, I really want to connect and see if there's some like things that we could get done, because before certain things transpired, I was having conversations with Blake and things like that, and but anyway, so I want to get some things going, but yeah, fellas, it's gonna be a whole new ball game, and I'm excited about it, just to step out of my comfort zone. And so the branding is gonna be huge. As a matter of fact, there's a song that I worked on and is done, paying respect to, our brother, who recently, went to be with Lord and his mom and all that. And I actually want to put a video with that. And I was, asking Brandon about certain things that, about the vehicle and all that in front of his property. And so yeah, man, there's a lot of things that, I'm trying to I want to start doing. And I think it'll be cool, once that gets going. So, but everything's going to really start popping off. It'll be very, very, very cool, once we get this going. So yeah, so Letter to My Firstborn coming soon. I think by this next podcast, I'll have that ready for us to take a listen to. And I want that honest feedback, and yeah, we'll just kind of take that from there. And periodically, man, Stxhes gets the exclusive for these tracks. I got another one I'm really, really proud of that fits into the It's Complicated project that I'm making, that I'm putting together. And I think that'll be very cool too. So yeah, man, a lot of things. So
hey, Gene, I got a quick question.
Oh,
how you feel about performing in front of people, like a crowd?
Yeah. It's so crazy. I remember before music, I wanted to be an actor, and so I wanted to be an actor. And then what happened was, so there was this thing called Pro Scout, and I did it out in Boston. And then apparently, like, they had found the one dude that was one of the main actors in the movie called Friday Night Lights. Have you guys ever seen that movie? Yeah, it's like football movie, whatever, the young cat. So apparently they discovered him and whatnot. And so I really wanted to do this. And my cousin wanted to do acting as well. So he would always motivate me. And the thing is, and if you know the industry, like commercials and movies and whatever it is, the better looking you are. Let's just call it a fitter, whatever it is, the more opportunity you're likely gonna get. So I remember at that point, man, I was a big boy, like, I was pushing like 300 or whatever. And so I did this Pro Scout thing, and I performed, in front of like I did a monologue. That monologue I did was a Vin Diesel monologue, from what's the
Fast and
like,
Furious.
Fast and Furious, right? Yeah, and yeah, so it was at the end, it's that skit where he's at the end of the day, winning is winning, So I did like a 10. If you know that, I did a little bit of that. So anyway, so and I was getting super good feedback, and I remember the dude was like, yeah, it was great and everything like that, but if you would like, he's like, if you lost a little weight or something like that, it would be great. Imagine. And so and again, we're not going to get into all this, but this is stuff like real, like people are dealing with. Like, there are people I know, like, we know mutual, like, I'm not going to name their name in case they don't want to be named in this, but we know people who are doing things such as newscasters, if you know what I'm talking about. Like, they deal with that, and you imagine what they look like and all that, and they still deal with that. Right, like things like that. But anyways, so a guy like me. So and then I went back. I lost a ton of weight and this and that. And I did a Denzel skit from Training Day. And that one scene was like, I'm putting cases and So I did that, and everybody was loving it and all that. But anyways, so long story short, I just kind of stopped pursuing that. But I had that experience with performing in front of people. And it was, and I did karaoke a few times. But it's still nerve-wracking, and anytime I think about doing it, but I know it's a way to promote my brand and to promote myself, so, I know it's a necessity, kind of like when Phil mentioned, taking these pictures of him in the AKA, it's not like you really want to do it, because again, y'all see my social media, I'm really not active like that, but I know it's a necessity. So performing in front of people is going to be that. I'm going to need to open up and start these small things, and again, that's why I'm trying to get my work professionally engineered and do things so that way when I go to these, whoever they are, that directors or event planners that manage these festivals and all that, to really show them my best body of work. I have one of my songs that I'm the most proud of, and it's almost like an old school Drake, and I think that one's going to be one of my biggest bangers. So But yeah, fellas, and you know, and I want to be able to incorporate. And I think one of my biggest things I remember since I was younger, you know, I remember I started doing security, and I would put all my cousins on. You know, I got into security, then all these do, I talked to my man like, yo, put my, you know, he's big body, 6'2", weight, you know, 2 and change, and you know, so I'm big on putting my people on, and so anything I could do to like help promote our brand, you know, so that's why I want to connect with Dwayne on the DJ piece. I want to connect with, you know, if eventually, you know, Brandon wants to TM bread for this, you know, we find ways to do that, aka more like anything that we could do to help each other really expand. And even if I'm the one that's like really put myself out there with this content, you know, constant content, that we could all kind of find a way to like, you know, prosper off of all of it. But I'm starting to get real excited about the music, man. I'm hopeful that you guys will love it too. But like I said, Stxhes will get the exclusives, you know, for all of it, and then we'll just see how the rest rise. But I definitely want to try to put some videos out there too. So.
Yeah, drop the bomb, Flex. No, I appreciate you putting it out there. So as us brothers on this call, we're gonna hold you accountable for 2022. If that's the goal, man, we gotta link up and make sure everybody gets to the top. That's awesome, man.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
And look, with that being said, oh shit, my bad. You're gonna have to edit that. I was about to say, look, with that being said, look, this is Stxhes. You know, obviously, you know, this was a great podcast tonight. It's getting late on the East Coast. We got a man Philip, we got Donnie, we got we got Gene, and we got the Wayno. And look, till the next time, look, this is Stxhes. Hey, one love, man.
Hey.
Perfect.
Peace.
Nice.